Hey everybody, it's your girl Charlotte Van Horn, Black Expats in Panama, by way of little old Glassboro, New Jersey, right here on blackexpatsradio.com. You know how we do. We bring you the best conversations ever. And today I am so like, oh my goodness, excited that I have the amazing full of personality and energy and funny and professional and smart Roshida Dowe with me. And a lot of you who follow like Blacksid or Black women moving abroad and things like that, you know who Roshida is. And so instead of me trying to give you all the skinny on her, I'm going to get her to give us the skinny on her. You know how it go. I ain't got time to sit and chit chat and smile, baby, because we got a lot to cover today. So I'm finna bring her on in here. Roshida!
Hey. Hey. How you doing today, Charlotte?
I am so good. I am so good. And you know something, Roshida, don't you love it when people say, I'm in a good place? Don't you just love it when people say that when they say I'm in a good place? Because you know that when they say that, they mean it. And so when I tell you, girl, that today I'm in a good place, we could just celebrate, shout hallelujah.
All right.
How about you? How you doing?
I am I'm in a weird place, but it's a good place. It's all positive. But it's, life is lifing.
Life is lifing. Life is lifing. And I guess, as long as life is lifing, we're in a good place, baby. Because when life ain't lifing no more, hey, that means our number them been called.
Listen.
And I'm telling you, it's been a lot of folks around me whose number's been called. I'm like extraordinarily blessed and happy to be here. I'm happy to be here with you. And so nobody wants to hear all about me. They want to hear all about you. So Rashida, introduce yourself to my audience.
All right. My name is Rashida Dowe. I am a career break coach. I am the co-founder, co-host, co-creator of Exodussummit. I took a career break that was like half voluntary, half involuntary in 2018. And I traveled the world for a year. And after that, I realized I never had, having the freedom to do that for a year taught me that I never really have to do anything I don't want to do. And I hadn't ever come to that realization before. And so from then on, I've been living a life doing the things that I want to do with the people I want to do them with. And I've been really searching for joy, or not necessarily searching, but like following joy where it takes me.
So what year was that?
2018.
2018. And so you just took a year and you traveled.
What
place did you go to?
I went, funny story, I went to 23 countries and 42 cities.
Did you and Stephanie know each other then?
No. Someone introduced us. So my business partner, Perry, someone introduced us online during that space. So we met online during that space. And then we started a business together before we actually ever met each other in person. So, yeah.
Wow. So y'all just started your business together. And I mean, we just don't put ahead of ourselves, but y'all just started your business together having never met. Just, talking online and getting to know each other that way.
Yeah, we held our first summit in September of 2020, and we met in person in January of 2021.
Wow. So that summit of 2020, what was that like compared to the summit of 2023, the last one you had?
So when we did 2020, we didn't know we were running a business. I know it's going to sound crazy, right? So the first thing, Stephanie and I both had YouTube channels. So the first thing we did together was a project on YouTube where we interviewed 12 women about their experience taking career breaks and sabbaticals. And 6 were on my channel and 6 were on her channel. And so it was one of those like, we do a project together, but there's no money at stake. So what, what's the worst that can happen, right? Like
Yes.
there's very little like at stake here, right?
Yes.
And so when we did our first summit, it kind of led from that. We wanted more people to hear about sabbatical stories and people who are traveling the world, et cetera. So we gathered about 50 speakers for the course of over 7 or 8 days. And we had panels and we had speakers. It was morning to night every day. And fun fact, that first year, we had we had 2 different ticket levels, one that was completely free and one that was paid. So that, again, there was very little at stake. Like at the end of the day, that's the hardest work that summit was the hardest I've ever worked in my life. I've taken 2 bar exams. I'm a lawyer who's taken 2 bar exams. And that summit
Put
was
it
the
in
hardest
perspective.
I've ever
That
worked
was
in my
a
life.
lot.
Yes.
Did you say 50 speakers?
50 speakers,
Lord
just us doing it, never having
mercy on my wretched soul.
So we just did a thing, and then we thought that was it. Like, okay, we did this thing, period. And we started a Facebook group to support the thing. As we're doing the thing, we had some sessions in the group, some sessions on the platform. And then after we did it, the women were like, well, what about next year? We were in the group. We're like, what are you talking about? We did one thing and it almost killed us. Thanks, goodbye. But we realized that when we started that Facebook group, we started a community, and the community wanted different things from us each year. And so we've repeated it, we've repeated a summit every year, recognizing that what we did the first year, we did without any knowledge of what it would take and what we needed to get, right? And so we've changed things every year since then, because like not sleeping for two weeks, not sleeping more than like 2 or 3 hours a night for 2 weeks, for at the end of it, I think we each might have made like $7,000. It didn't, no, absolutely. Because, and it wasn't just 2 weeks of work. Like we worked on it for 3 months. So we worked on it for 3 months and made maybe $7,000 a piece. And that's when we were like, okay, we can do it to summit again, but it's not going to be 7 days, right? Like it has to be like shorter, because 50 speaker organizing.
That's a lot.
50 women to come talk to you about something was more, it was a lot of work. But also, like I said, we started it with these kind of low stakes. So we just wanted to get the information to people. And so it was really easy to do that, a low stakes business venture with someone I haven't met before. Because like I said, what's the worst that can happen? Like she steals my $7,000. Okay, right? Like I would be upset, but like I've done a project with her before that was free and it felt good, right? And so I trust her,
Well, she's a sweetie, and I told her she gives me like Tabitha Brown vibes like all the time.
Yes. I would be more likely to steal the $7,000 than she would. But I also wouldn't.
But also, what I think is so beautiful about that story is what a lot of people miss about maybe the success that you've had, and even the success that I've had with Black Expats in Panama, is the intention. And when you went into that and you created the thing you called it, which you later learned was like Exodussummit, you just did that from a place of, I want to get information out to people. You want to help other sisters to be able to recognize the options that are available to them as far as a sabbatical and relocating and things like that. You planted those seeds, with nothing, no expectation in return. Like as far as like making a whole bunch of money, you just did it because that's what you wanted to do. That's what you felt like you were called to do at that moment. And look at the rewards.
Yeah. And it's funny, the $7,000 we made wasn't from ticket sales. It was from we had sponsors that first year. It was 2020. Them companies were giving money to Black people. They're not giving money to Black people anymore, but companies were giving money to Black people then. So we got sponsors that year. One of the things that's always been a part of
so that was like right after the George Floyd situation.
Yes. So companies reached out to us and were like, we heard you're doing this. We would like to sponsor it. Yes.
Here.
Now we reach out to people and they're like, oh, it's for Black women? No, 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 no. That's not our, no, 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 no. That and like when we tell people our audience is like mid 40s to 60s, 70s, they're also like, no, 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 no. Black women 40s to 60, no, no, no. And I'm like, who y'all think got the money? Like, let's be real about it. Like you want to market to 20-year-old women or you want to market to the 50-year-old woman who has the money to spend to travel to do it. Okay, I can't convince you. It's all right. It's fine.
And the 20-year-old is going to use every device and method known at this time to mankind to get around spending that money. Okay. They're gonna go to Groupon, Upon, whatever. They're gonna look for discounts. They're not as particular and meticulous about their experiences because they're younger. Your crowd is my same crowd. And there have been people that have come, into Panama and they say, well, y'all the old ones, we want to go with the young ones. And they keep coming back. Like any of people want to do this or that because it's a different market and they're sleeping on it. Just like you said, they are sleeping on it because we the ones with the money and we the ones that's managing things in the household.
We know how much time we have and how much time we don't have, and we're willing to pay for convenience. I will pay for, you'll do, okay. Make it easy. Here's some money there.
That's
All right.
That's it.
Yeah. So it's interesting running a business when we started off with people being like, yes, we love this. Here's money. And now the sponsors are like, wait a minute.
Love that.
Thank you. No, thank you to your audience. But we know who our audience is, and whether we get sponsored dollars or not, we know we want to support our audience. And what I was saying before is a really important part of for this is that we circulate money within Black women. Like we charge for, and we pay all our speakers, and we pay all our speakers incredibly well.
Wow,
and so it's something that we do to make sure that the Black women who are in community with us, that we ask to join our community, and who are voluntarily in our community, know that the point of what we do is to take care of Black women. It's what we do, right? Like if I am not my sister's keeper, what am I doing, right? And so running with another Black woman who believes that as much as I do, and who is willing to do what it takes to support Black women has been like life-changing, right? Coming from corporate America, where people rarely care about the customer to begin with, much less the like specific Black female subset of their audience. It's really amazing to be here and to allow Black women to be in the forefront, right? To lead the conversation, to be the number one part of the only real part of our audience. And if anybody else is there, that's okay, right? Like we've had men attend the summit. It's fine. Just I'll say anything.
Stay in your lane.
We always get people who are like, well, why can't I? And I'm like, you can, you just can't expect us to center you, right? Like if you as a white woman are showing up and saying, why do you have a Black woman only space? I can't trust that if you show up to an online event, you're not also going to be saying the same thing there, right? There are white women who buy tickets and stay silent. I'll never know. Thank you, right? Because they want the information. But the ones who want to be centered or want to point out that they feel excluded are not ones that are going to be good community members, because they're always going to be like, but what about me? You said this is about that Black women should blah, blah, blah. But what about me? I'm here in the audience too. Girl, nobody cares, right? Like the whole world is talking to you. The ads are for you. Everything going on is for you, right?
Yeah, I think you put that in a good way because I had the same situation with the group. And we vet everybody. That's why this group, particularly the biggest audience we have is our Facebook group, our private group. And that group could have probably no less than 10,000 people at this time. But we vet seriously. And when it comes to others wanting to be in the group, we vet a little bit more closely. And I said on another interview, I said, like, well, if I look into your profile and I see that you're a MAGA, I'm not going to approve you because I know that you probably don't have, you're not, I I don't care what you think. I don't care how delusional you are about what you support, or who that person is, but it's probably not going to work in this group.
Okay,
Okay.
so
You're probably not, here to support Black initiatives. The purpose of my group is to give people that want to be Black expats in Panama information, um, and a space to ask questions. Um, but if you're an interracial couple, if you look like you maybe are interested in Black culture, then I think it's a different conversation. I'm not going to exclude you, but then I'll just say this and I'll be quiet. But the point is that what you're not going to do is come into my group and dispute things that Black people are saying, or interject yourself into conversations that you are not qualified to have with Black people.
okay, so question for you. I don't know
Okay.
if it's come up yet, but what about Black MAGA people? Are they allowed in?
Black what?
MAGA, Black people who are like super conservative and they want to make America great too. Have they tried to join the group? Have you had to reject any of them, or would you accept them in the group?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
Say what you want. I'm sorry. I just don't. As far as I'm concerned, they're grouped in the same place as others. Um, it is what it is. And at the end of the day, it's my group. And we don't do politics in my group at all. You're not allowed to discuss. I don't discuss anything political in my group. Absolutely. It's not allowed. If you have something to say about the politics going on in the United States, then you say it on your own page. My Black Expats in Panama group is not here for that. However, I'm sorry. I'm jaded at this time. And I just don't really see us as being on the same team.
I mean, there's
I
nothing wrong
said
with it.
what I said.
There's nothing wrong with that. You know who you are, you know what you want, you know what you need to get done in your group. And I think that we often have people who are offended, like I said before, by exclusion without recognizing that their energy would be better spent in a group that is better suited for them.
For them.
Right?
Yeah.
You're going to come in the group and be mad because someone's saying something you don't like, and now you're fighting in the group all day. And I don't understand y'all be fighting on Facebook all day or Twitter or anywhere else because, baby, you don't
Baby.
you don't know them people. Who cares what they think? Who
Exactly. I
cares?
don't care. I don't
I
care. And I'm not going to be fighting with you in my group. I'm not, and when people want to buck up with me because, I didn't approve their post, or, I politely let them know that I am not here to build their business, then if you don't like it, you can go. And a lot of times I just go ahead and release you into the world to be great. But like you said, I think that one of the things that you say that resonates with me is that the thing that you built that. You
Mhm.
built that. You built that one person at a time. And the amount of work that it takes to once you build it and people come, hey, that's when the work really begins. You're like, oh my God, they're here, and you have to put in that work. So when you put in that work, I'm sorry, for me, I get very personal about that. I'm not here to build your business. And then you have people coming and saying to me, well, you need to support more Black business. Don't tell me what I need to do. Don't tell me what I need to do. Baby, listen, I've been about this Black business thing for a long time, before it was even cool to be about it. And social media and electronic collections will show my track record on supporting Black business and initiatives. However, comma, please remember that I am a Black owned business too. Okay. And why should I, if you want to come into my group, oh Lord, you done got me started. Roshida.
So, okay, y'all, my special skill is getting people to talk about
And,
themselves.
and no more questions. Rashida, no more. Okay, no more.
Someone we've talked about before gets mad at me for doing this because she'll be like, I'm trying to interview you, and all of a sudden I'm talking about myself, and I'm like, oh yeah, girl, that's
Because then you come with that. Let me ask you a question. No,
let me
no
ask you a question real quick.
all the questions are for you. I will just finish by saying
Woo.
that you're not going to tell me that I'm not here for my people. Okay, but what you also not going to do is take advantage of the work that I invested in this to uplift you. And you ain't never, not one time in your life, posted not one of the gazillion million things that I have done. You know, you have never supported me. Stop. I don't owe you shit. I said what I said.
I think there's also the idea that you said you can't tell. There's also people telling you, you know, you don't support Black people or whatever, or like telling you how you're supposed to support. When it's like, if you think my group, my platform, my whatever should be a little different, build a different thing. Build a different thing.
That's
Right?
why. That's why I built my platform, right? Because it wasn't.
I'm not, right? I'm not going to come to your house and kick down your door. Build a different thing. Like it's okay for, there are enough people in this space for us to share with open arms, right? If someone resonates with you more than they resonate with someone else, go do that. Like people who come on YouTube channels, see the most, and leave wild, crazy comments that would get you punched in the face if you said it in person.
It was in person.
Now, why wouldn't you just go watch something you like?
Yeah.
Why are you over here hate watching things and hate commenting? We're like, where's the joy in your life, right? Like, and even if it's not like that crazy, but like, you know, the like, I don't like the way you X. Go find someone who wise then. Like, I don't.
Why, you know, I just had a situation like that with an ad that I put out about I'll be in Atlanta on April 27th with Jewel Pearson, Miss Bohemian Soul. We're doing a meetup.
Atlanta, April 27th?
April 27th. You
Oh,
gonna
no,
be
I'm March. No, I'll be there March 29th. It's
there?
all very confusing in my brain right now. I don't know what's going on. Okay.
Putting this in April, and for some reason, I did I sponsored it
Mm-hmm.
on my page, and all of these people, I have never gotten so many hateful responses, and it was just the event is like um conversations of liberation. It was just like, oh, the overwhelming amount of hate. I'm like, why are you watching this? Why are you here?
Any conversation about Black women being free is offensive to like generally anybody who's not a Black woman. I don't know what it is, but they all come out the woodworks to be like, you should know your place.
That's deep. So tell me this, Roshida, where are you from? And how did you, once you got to that place in 2018 when you decided, to just take some time off, like, did you travel as a younger person? Did your family travel? Where are you from?
So I've been an immigrant almost my whole life. I was born in England and then we moved to America when I was 2. So from 2 to 8, I lived in America. And then at 8, I moved to Jamaica for 2 years. So I went to Jamaica and I didn't sound like any of the other kids, right? I'm going to a new school now, going to a Catholic school where they beat you with a leather belt. Girl, what? And this is not my experience, right? Before, like living in Southern California, I lived in a very multicultural neighborhood. People in my school were from all over. In Jamaica now, for the first time in my life, it's only Black people, right? And I was the foreigner
Yes.
from the US. And then I moved back to the US at 10, but I picked up a bit of a Jamaican accent. So moving back to the US, I was once again the Jamaican foreigner. So you know what I mean? Like I was the American foreigner in Jamaica, and then I moved back to America. I was now the Jamaican foreigner. Lived in the US, California, Ohio, Virginia, for my adult years, and then really wanted to move back to California. Took a chance on a business that worked in my area of expertise. Moved back to California. Within like a week of working for them, I was like, oh no, this business not gonna make it. I'm here. Oh no, I knew. Because I'd worked at a very well-established business that did the thing they did. Yes. And then I worked with them, and it was very much banding the bullet wounds. And I was like, okay, we're not gonna call the doctor because we're not gonna make it. And then after 18 months or so, we got a notice that the company was going out of business.
Wow.
And almost everyone was laid off in 30 days. A bunch of us stuck around for 6 months so they could get rid of, not a bunch of us, a few of us, handful, for 6 months so that they could get rid of some of the assets. And I helped them with that. And then, because I knew where all the bodies were buried.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. And then they asked me to stay for another month. So I ended up staying for 7 months. But during those 7 months, because they didn't want me to leave, because I'm literally the only person who knows where all the bodies are buried, they paid me double my salary for 7 months.
Wow. Now
Mm-hmm.
you're a lawyer by trade, right?
I banked that money. And at the same time, I don't know if you've ever worked at a place that is going through a massive shift and people are forced to do things they don't know how to do. But there's people say like if you're drowning, don't just and there's someone else there. If you start flailing, you'll take them all down. But if you like if you can calmly like hold on to someone, they can swim you to safety, right? Like don't
Yes.
drown the life. And
Yes.
a lot of
Don't
people were
panic.
trying to drown the lifeguard. And so like they just weren't, it was a very, very tense situation because no one knew how to do the new jobs. Instead of like we're running the business, now it's we're selling the business, which took a completely different set of skill sets. And people didn't know what to do. And so they would be like, you need to do this. And I'd be like, I absolutely do not. That's your job. But I don't know how to do it. Okay, well then I think you should learn. Right. You know what I mean? So it was like
Yes.
every
Learn
day
it.
the job went from like bad to worse in that 7 months. And I was going to a therapist. And I always say this, like that therapist saved my life in a way that I didn't even know was possible. Because when
Wow.
I found out that they were going out of business, I was like, okay, so I will start applying for jobs and I'll get another job just like this old job and I'll work some more. And I've been talking to her about work. And this is an Eastern European woman, and she had a very I'd seen Black female therapists before, and you know how like you have your girlfriends and they're not your therapist, but they're full of that good advice. This
Yes.
white gave me some advice I had never heard anyone
She was a
give
white woman.
a white woman. Yes, Eastern
Okay.
European white woman, and it changed. I tell you, it changed. It saved my life. It changed my life. I was stressed. They were discrediting me. They were talking crazy to me. They were treating me like Cinderella, right? And they were like, you haven't mopped the floors well enough to like go take a break, right? So what do it was that kind of situation. That therapist was like, they sound terrible. So, right? Like, instead of trying to like do more, what if you did less? Because I was like, I have to prove it. I know what I'm doing, which is what we hear all the time. Like, just work harder. They'll see it. No, she was like, she looked me in the face, and I swear to you, the idea scared me when she said it. And now I think it's becoming a lot more post-pandemic, a lot more normalized. But what she said was, what is the least amount of work you can do and not get fired? Do that. Like do instead of taking it up, take it all the way down. She
Wow.
said, do what's the absolute, she said, first she was like, can you do less work than you're doing now and not get fired? I'm the person who knows where the bodies are buried. Yes, I can. They're not gonna fire me, right? And so she was like, do the absolute least amount of work you can do and not get fired. And that changed my entire relationship with the work that I was doing probably at 3 more months to go at that point. And it was so easy to say like, okay, no, I'm not gonna sit at my computer all day and like immediately respond to all these crazy emails, these requests, someone's trying to get me to do their job, blah, blah, blah. Instead, I force myself to open the email twice a day for 30 minutes a day. Twice a day. I will check. Listen, I used to go into the office. My commute, when I first started working there, was 2 hours. I moved, so I got it down to an hour. I used to go to that office every day. I had a boss who would walk past me and the other people on my team, not speak to us, not acknowledge us all day long, not like we're not even there, and then go
Wow.
back to where this place was. Eventually, I was like, well, then why am I in the office? If my boss doesn't know or care or will walk past me and not speak to me
Mm-hmm.
in the office, why am I going in the office? And
Wow.
so I did a number of things that were really like, yes, like you're supposed to be in the office, but you haven't been here in weeks. So like, yes, this could get you fired, but whatever, right? At this point, like this is I was so beaten down by the job and my coworkers, not the work itself. I love the work itself. And I actually, sometimes I miss the work itself. But my coworkers and the demands they made, like an emergency meeting on a Sunday evening.
Wow.
Somebody dying? Do what?
But that white
Am I an
woman,
actor? Like, what's happening?
but that white woman gave you a whole nother perspective.
Whole
And
other perspective.
I'm wondering if that's how white people do
I
it.
listen. She said,
We don't think that way because we are always raised to know that we got to do more, we got to do better, we got to work
"For
hard.
less. We got to do more for less." She
Yes.
was like, what's the least amount you can do? She said, just do that. And I said, oh, that's okay. So I did that. We talked about taking a break. I knew they're going because in that time I was interviewing for people. I had a job interview in the exact same building I worked in, like 2 floors up. How fun, great. For another company doing a very similar thing. And I walked in there, and the minute some, like interviewers will have like sometimes like a little attitude, like trying to get you to like, oh, this is what we do. I was like, okay, you got an attitude, I got it. I don't want to be here either.
Yes.
Y'all hit me up about this job, so what's up? Right, like immediately, like I'm not going to do that kissing your butt, like
Yeah.
I got to do. No,
Coming
if
in here like I need you.
you want me to jump, you jump first. I was like, oh, and I realized that was not the right attitude for a job search. And so I knew that I wasn't in a good place to find another job that was going to serve me in a way that I needed
A
it to
break.
serve. I needed a break. And that's my therapist was talked me into a break a bit. Because I was like, what if I just get another job and work for a while and save money and then like have a planned break? Because the time between me thinking about a break and taking a break was about a month. About a month of like, what if I did this instead of taking a job? Because I'm working all this time. I'm like a month before.
You were banking your money. So was this in 2018?
This,
Was
this
this
is this is the end of 2017 into 2018 was at 7 months.
so then after you got through that process, you stayed to the end?
Stay to the end. Well, they said we'll pay you. They said come for it. Can you stay another month? I was like, for double the salary, I can. And they're like, no. We can only pay your original salary. I was like, okay, then I can't. And then immediately they were like, okay, no, we'll do it. We'll pay you. We'll pay you. I said, yeah. I was one of the last two employees. Me and the CEO were the last two employees. Hi.
So first of all, I think what I hear in that story is a few things. And first of all, that you sought self-care.
Mm-hmm.
You sought self-care. That's a big piece because a lot of times we try to go it on our own. And a lot of times, I love our sister circles, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we need a professional opinion. And I think
Yes.
that this lady was just
Yeah.
a perfect set for you. And the other thing is that you stayed to the end and you did things that you would not have had the experience to do in any other situation. You were able to assess that this was probably going to be some monkey bullshit from the beginning because you had previous experience. But the experience that you had, nobody can take that from you. And the experience and the resilience and the know how that you have earned from that could really be a payoff for you later, or
Mm-hmm.
may have already paid off for you in the thing that you decided to do next.
Yes, and I think when we talk about resilience, right? Like you can describe me at that time as resilient, but I think what looks like resilience is often the ability and the capacity to accept abuse, right? Because why do I need to be so damn resilient? What's going on that I need to be so resilient? And what was going on was I worked in an abusive workplace, right? And so while I love the idea that like we can learn through the things that we do, right? We can learn through where we've been and what we've done. I do think that things like resilience are given a little too much credit in our society, right? I don't necessarily I don't want to be that. I want to be resilient for things that like I have brought into my life. I don't want to be resilient because they damn near try to kill me at my job, right? Like,
Oh, you had a goal,
yeah.
and it sounds like to me that the goal was to go ahead and get that money. So you could set yourself to do something, set yourself up to do something else. And I believe that resilience is is what we're made of. I mean, and it's like
Why?
we don't have to be abused, but we need to be able to, even if it's resilience in the sense that you said, nah, forget this. Y'all are abusive. I don't want to be bothered with you anymore. I don't want to stay behind and clean up y'all mess. Something in a row. If you had made that decision, resilience would have been just as important because you
Yeah.
were not in the space. You were not in the headspace where you really wanted to be working for anybody else at that moment because it was just a lot happening anyway. But how you handled even walking off that job would have been an example of your resilience. How did you manage being on your own without a paycheck? You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Now
So
that,
that's how I
but
see
that would be resilient for a choice I made. And that's why it's for something I bring into my life. I feel
it.
like,
Exactly.
we talk about like strength of Black women. Like, why we got to be so strong? There's a reason, right? Because
Yeah.
we're often given like the worst that society has to offer in so many different ways, right? Like at work, in life, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel the same about resilience. Like, why do I need to be, what am I going through so consistently that resilience is a notable feature, right? Like resilience should be like once every 2 years, girl. Yeah, girl, I made it through, right? Like, but not like a consistent thing. And I feel like in so many of our sisters' lives, it's a always, you know what I mean? Like you're always in the like,
Always in that
I
little.
will make it through. Right? I'm tired of making it through, right? Like
Yeah.
I want to prosper. I want to be like resilience. I ain't seen her in a while. I haven't needed her in a while, right?
Right, right. But again, I'll just say this. I have a daughter, and
Mm-hmm.
she's 38 years old. And at one point in her life, I wondered about her resilience, because it is necessary for us. It's like we don't need to be in positions all the time where we got to be digging down for our resilience. But a lot of times, nowadays with particularly young people, it's like they ain't got to fight for shit. They don't have to fight for anything. It seemed like everything was just always like going her way. She could get things done with little effort. And she didn't really seem to have any real, disappointments or things that she had to overcome. And even though I never want that for my daughter, I want to know that when you have to be, when you need that resilience,
Mm-hmm.
that you have it. So we've built it up and we've gotten to the point where you say, well, I got to be resilient every day. But for those that don't know how to use that skill, it is something that, resilience is going to come into play if you're sick. If you're sick, if how are you going to handle that in life? And so I understand your opinion about resilience. And I really hate the fact that we have just been conditioned. I totally agree with you that make it happen, make it happen. But on the other side of that, I feel like it's given us great advantages in life. I've had partners where I'm like, I don't understand. Why are we always underestimated?
Mm-hmm.
Why, no matter what we bring to the table, people are always going to underestimate us. Out of all that you showed them, Rashida, on that job, and I know I don't even know you that well, but I could tell that if you're somebody that's doing it, you getting the job done. Even to the point where you say, well, you know what, I really don't want to do that. I'm not going to do this or that. If you wasn't a performer, if you wasn't, excellent, by the time you went there, they'd be like, okay, then you need to go. You know what I'm saying? You was still, because your minimal amount was still excellent. And you see what I'm saying? And I
I
just,
totally get that.
yes,
But I want to say something. I don't know your daughter, but I'm going to say that you said that things always seem to go her way. There's I'm gonna guess there's something there, right? There's something about your daughter where people want to do nice things for her, and where she's making things happen for her. So I'm gonna guess that what she's doing on the front end to make life always seem to go her way would translate very well on the back end if something goes wrong. I'm just gonna guess that. But like, because when you see people whose lives are we see people whose lives are like seem like they're charmed, right?
Yes. Yes.
There's work in that. There's work in that. And I'm
Yeah.
gonna say if she can do that work, she can probably do the back end resilient work as well.
She works, and she has she has proven. I mean, since then, I think when we had that conversation and I was concerned, it was when she was like going into high school. And just comparing like her life to mine and everything. But you're right, she puts the work in. She puts the work in, and but I just was afraid that I didn't know how resilient she would be, because she puts the work in and she expects things to go that way. But the truth of the matter is, Roshida, is that sometimes that's just not real life.
Right.
No, that is not real life. We talked about, yesterday I have a book club, and we were talking about how little we get paid compared to our white women counterparts, and then even more so, we get paid less than our white male counterparts. And it's like then a lot of times we're head of household. We're head of household, we're getting paid less than everybody else that's working. We feel like we got to work harder, to keep our jobs, and to get that next uh, bonus or increase in pay. And then when you get to the end of your life, or the point in your life where it's time to stop working, it trickles all the way down into your pension and your benefits, and you still got so much less because what you put in, contrary to what they be trying to talk about with Social Security, it's about what you put in. What you put in is what you get out. But because we weren't given the opportunity to earn with everybody else, so I'm just saying that. But that's all that I'm saying. But I want to talk more about you. So,
All right.
why is it that you traveled around so much? Was it your parents in the military or?
No. So I was born in London from West Indian parents. They um when my mom had kids, she was like, I'm not raising my kids in this cold. Like, I'm tired. She moved from Jamaica to England. She met my dad there. My dad's from Antigua. She was like, it's too cold to raise kids here. So we're moving to California. They moved to
A
California.
totally Caribbean background.
Mhm. Yeah.
Wow.
So they went, they're in California. My mom wanted to go, mom was a nurse, a registered nurse. She wanted to go to law school, and she realized she couldn't go to law school. She couldn't have it all, right? She couldn't raise the kids, work full time, and go to law school at night. And so we went to Jamaica to live with my grandparents. And then when law school was over, came back to the US. Um, and then yeah, that's basically the bottom, the younger half, and the older half, the moves are just work and school and stuff like that.
So when you decided you were going to make that sabbatical,
Mhm.
and you started to move around, where did you say you went? Where did you say you went first?
The first place I went was Mexico because I had a friend who was having a birthday party in Mexico in Playa del Carmen, and it was nice.
Mhm.
So I went some places in the US. I said goodbye to my dad, my mom, dropped my dog off at his uncle's house, did some things. And then I went to Mexico for a friend's party, and then I traveled around, different parts of Mexico, then Colombia. Like I said, 42 cities in a year, which was way too many. Way too many. Don't do that. It's foolish. It's foolish. Um, but I had a great time. I was exhausted by the end of it. That was moving as quickly as I did for as long as I did made me very, very tired, like physically tired. And so about 6 months into it, I was like, I'm exhausted. And about 9 months into it, I was like, oh no, if I have to move to another, I'm just gonna go home. And so about 9 months in, I went to Chiang Mai Thailand, and I stayed there for 3 months till the year was out. And that was a really great place. It's such a good community there, so warm, beautiful people. So
In
it was a great
Thailand.
Thailand, yeah.
I don't think people expect you to say that.
Why?
So I guess because of like the some of the Asian relationships that we have here.
Um,
I just wouldn't
everyone,
expect them to be like warm and friendly.
I'm so sorry. When I said the people, I was talking about the Black people there.
Oh, my bad.
But the Thai people, of all the places I went to in Asia, the Thai people were some of the friendliest. Like they were friendlier than Vietnam. They were friendlier than Japan. They were the friendliest people that I met. And like I would say like the most, for me, the most easygoing. The most were like, I don't have to worry about things. Like I'll figure it out. If I have a problem, someone will help me. It's gonna be fine. Right. Um, so yeah, that was a good experience for me.
You ultimately landed in Mexico,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's where you are now.
Yes. I'm in Mexico City.
Okay. And so how long have you been a resident there? Or did you choose the residency route?
I did. I've been a legal resident for since 2020.
Okay.
So coming on for this year will be 4 years. That can't be right. Must be 2021. That can't be right. I don't know. But I've been living here on and off since 2019. I've been to Mexico City, I want to say like 3 or 4 times before. And on my last time during my sabbatical, I met a really good girlfriend of mine down here. And we just met at the hotel because we came in on different flights. We were going for a walk. And as we left the hotel, I said, why don't I live here? And she just looked at me and said, why don't you? And I was like, now, when I said that, it was a rhetorical question. Like, but
Right.
here you go, you throwing it back at me, and I don't have a reason. Uh,
Yes.
that was January. It was December of 2018. It was right before New Year's. We were there for New Year's. So December of 2018, I knew that when my year was over of traveling, I wanted to settle here and spend a lot of time here, and I still love it.
When did you start your YouTube channel?
Uh, okay, so I started it just as a way to tell my friends and family, like as proof of life videos, like I am here. This is what
Mhm.
I look like. I am okay.
Yes.
Um, right when I went to Mexico for the first time. So for the first time in this experience. So that would have been like June or July of 2018. The videos are hot garbage. Just not. I had a friend who was like, all your videos are you sitting on a couch and talking. Like people want to see when they want travel videos, they want to see more. And I was like, yeah, 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 sure. And so what I've talked about has changed over time. How I film, what I create has changed over time. But it's really just, me talking to my friends and family. Right?
You come across, and I think especially now that authenticity is the new sexy, and you just come across as very authentic. So if you're just coming across, I think that some people just underestimated us just being us. You just being
Mhm.
I don't have to be fancy dancy. It's great when you can have like really cool, videos. I haven't figured all that out. How I could be talking about something and have it popping up on the side. Listen, I do what I can do. Okay, I do what I can do. But what I'm saying is this: the way you express yourself, the way you tell your story, the uniqueness in your story is for me, and clearly it was enough to get you started on the path where somebody come across you and they watch you for a minute. Because guess what? How many other Black people, especially back in 2018 and 2019, there wasn't that many Black people making this Black city, and so when you see somebody that's doing something different than you're doing, and just like when that sister said to you, well, why don't you live here? And you're like, oh. When people see you, they say, ain't never thought about living in another country. But here this sister is just living her life and telling her story. And it's we take for granted how much people are interested in that.
Mhm.
Because by then it's just your everyday life.
And that's actually why we do the summit every year, because someone this year, I can't remember who it was, someone this year brought up the topic of, or the concept of possibility models, right? Like you can see someone as a possibility model of who you are. Like there are women who see me and I don't resonate at all, right? But maybe one of our speakers in the summit, right? Like you are a busy mom of 3 young kids. I don't know that life, girl. I can't talk to it,
Exactly.
right? My story
Yeah.
would be leave the kids behind and go live your best life. But some of y'all don't want to do that, right? But like, so, but a speaker at the summit might have the exact same story that you can see yourself in. And so it feels more possible for you because she's the possibility model that where you didn't see me as one, right? And that there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with saying that like certain people resonate with me more than others.
Yes.
And that I want, I can see myself in this person, right? Or I can see a little bit of myself here, a little bit of myself here, and I want to kind of see what multiple people are doing. That's the way to, I'm gonna hit on a pet peeve real quick. So frequently we see people who say like, oh, I can't do this because like the
Single.
way you did it is
Yes.
like different than
Okay.
the way
Okay.
maybe the resources you have available are different than the resources I have available. So I
Right.
can't do that. And it's like, instead of spending your time, focus on what you can't do, like find the possibility model that shows you what you can do, right?
Yeah.
Like I didn't know I could do this. I didn't know, I thought taking a year off to travel was something that like kids with parents supporting them or
Mm-hmm.
with like jobs that weren't real were doing. Like, I'm a lawyer. What do you mean quit my job and leave? Also,
Yes.
all my friends thought I was having a meltdown. Like, whoa, 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 are you okay? You need to talk about anything? What do you mean you're leaving? What are you gonna do? Are you all right? A lot of that, a lot of like, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa, right? Because you did not see people
It's
doing it.
not.
I
It's
created a
not.
community
Yeah. It's not what
where
we're
we
used to.
yes, creating a community where you see people doing it all the time has been so important to me because now you have models. And in my group coaching program, I show there are women in there all the time who've been successful, who've moved to places like Panama,
Yeah.
and who can show others in that program that like this is how I did it, right? Like, so you're not solely following in my footsteps. There are a number of women who are trekking paths that you can follow, and you don't have to follow someone completely. You can grab a little bit here, grab a little bit there, and move on. And it's one of the things that brings me the most joy is like seeing women who a year ago said, I don't see how I get to the finish line, like crossing the finish line and bringing other women with them. It's like,
Yeah.
yes, this is how we do it, right? Like you see someone do it, you follow them, and then you bring some more people with you. So
So tell me, I'm glad you brought up the coaching program and it's a really cool title. It's Burnout to Bliss. Tell us about that program.
okay. So from Burnout to Bliss is something I created in 2019, I think, maybe 2020. And it's gone through a few different iterations, but it is a program, it's a 1-year program with a curriculum, with group coaching, and with a community. We have our own Facebook group. And in that, it's for Black women who want to move abroad or take a career break. And honestly, my favorite part is the group coaching because I love sitting down and talking to this group of women who are like, okay, this is what I want to do. We always have a lot of people who have been in the program come back, who kind of are my graduates, right? I have a lot of my graduates come back and say like, how y'all doing? Yes, I'm here in the city I live in. How y'all doing? What y'all talking about today, right? And like talking about their experience. They're like guest speakers without even realizing they're guest speakers because they just want to come and hang out. Um, but it's nice to have that and to have women who are like dipping their toe in for the first time to say like like I said, I don't know how I can do this, but I want it, right? Like all you need is the desire to get it done. And so I can't tell you how many women like the I think that no matter what program you're in, no matter what you no matter what coach you have, no matter what resources you put towards something, the biggest factor in deciding whether you get something is how much you really want it. And I will tell you that the women that I see, the success stories I have in Burnout to Bliss are women who really wanted it. And I know they really wanted it by how often they show up, right? Because you start a program and you're like, I can't make it to all the meetings, right? Or like we're once a month, so it's not that many meetings, right?
Okay.
But the people who like drop off and never show up, I don't expect, this is not about them personally, but like if you have access to a program where people are helping you move towards your goal and you're not showing up, I think your goals have changed, right? Even if you don't know it yet, I personally think your goals
You
have
do
shifted.
what's important to you. That's what
What's
I used to tell my father. When he used to make excuses, I say, it's okay. But at the end of the day, you do what's important to you. And if you can show up for my funeral, why couldn't you show up for my birthday?
all right now? Yeah, the women that I see that are successful are the ones that show up, the ones that say like, oh, I had to miss the last 3 sessions, but I'll be here. You know what I mean? Like the ones who are engaged. Those are the ones that are super successful. And I love seeing them. I can always tell when someone's like things have, and sometimes it's not that their desire has changed, but something else has changed in their life. Like sometimes,
Priority.
their priorities have shifted. They had a baby, they had a man. All these things come up and they require work, right? Like, and
So
so, things change.
so it's just the bulk of the program is that one meeting per month.
But the one bulk of the program is one meeting per month where we talk about um, either things in the curriculum so that they have access to that throughout the whole year, um, or specific questions they have about their experience. So like sometimes it's a question about like how much should I pack, or how do I figure out what this is going to cost me, or I'm scared of this, or my mom just told me, my sister just told me, my grandma just said, right? Like, and so it's that sisters helping sisters kind of situation where women really want to, the women in the reason I love this group so much is the women are so supportive of each other. Like one
Yes.
day someone was talking about one to look for another job, and someone chimed in and was like, I have these LinkedIn Pro credits, so if you want it here, and then like three
Yes.
people, right? Like that kind of thing. Like there's very much a sharing economy in that group where people are like, if I have it available, it's yours, right? And so because we know that none of us make it alone, right? Like, and if
My sister's keeper.
a
I
crab in a barrel can pull you down or they can help you out, right? Like,
Yes. They
and so
can that and unfortunately there is, you deal with that, being in this industry and others as well. But I choose to focus on the people who are supporting, supporting each other. There are some things like, and this is just like a random example, but the climate in Panama will tear your shoes up. I mean, it's like your shoes blowing out. Is
like
I
the rubber,
pair of Coach shoes that I had. I
what
said,
was the
yeah,
material they're made of? Like, is it rubber? Is it leather? What's the climate messing up?
the humidity breaks down the leather. The
Mm.
humidity breaks down, I think, the glue that they use to put shoes. The girl, you got to see some of my posts. I think one of my probably most popular posts in that group was me with my foot hanging half out my shoe because so many people could relate. But I say that to say, as I'm going through my shoes the other day, I got rid of so much, but still I have too much. And I'm like, God, I forgot all about these shoes. I forgot all about these shoes. I forgot all about these shoes. And I said, you know something? These shoes that I am not wearing could be really a benefit to somebody else. Because at this point, it's not just keeping my shoes up in the closet until I get around to them again. It's like I may keep them up in the closet and never be able to wear the shoe again. And so having somebody else that you can bless with those shoes. So it's things that we can bless each other with. and something that might seem so unattainable for another sister is just like, girl, I got extra points for that. Here, it's yours. I just think that there's a lot to be said for that. And I really like the fact that, you bring women together. And when they get together, that there is that space. We were talking last night about safe space, and safe space just sounds very white womanish to me. There's just something about the sound of it that doesn't resonate with me. But we start talking about sacred spaces where we're here together, and that we're here. This space is just for us, and we're here to help each other grow and to get from one step to another. But in the curriculum part of this program, what kind of areas do you cover? Is it like finances, um, you know, dealing with family as far as if you want to make a relocation, how to start thinking about letting that job go or getting a break?
So there's some things about like finances, about like not necessarily how to fund it, but how to take the money, how much money will you need, right?
Yes,
And like
yes,
how
very
to manage the money, right? What this will cost. There are
important.
parts about like dealing with family. There's travel safety things. There are conversations about like picking your locations, because so many women really struggle with the like, well, where do I
Where
go?
do I go?
So it runs the gamut of like health issues, staying, like I said, staying safe, the different questions that I had as I travel through the world are what informed the space. And
Mm,
over time, I've been doing this coaching for, this is year 5 for me. Whoa. Yeah, this is year 5. I've been doing this coaching for 5 years.
wow.
So the different ways that women have asked questions, the different things that have come up have informed the course as well.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. How do we find the coaching group?
It's at fromburnouttobliss.co. You can also find it at Roshidadowe.com.
Okay, I love that. How cool is that? So, Rashida, it has been amazing having this conversation with you. I just really want to congratulate you on the community um, and the business and the opportunities for others that you have created, because you also work with Stephanie Perry and you guys do scholarships and things like that. I just think that what you're doing is really cool. I think people resonate with you because you are just who you are, period. And that's very attractive. In party, what would be some advice that you would give to maybe the women listening to this or people in general about deciding to make that move, that relocation? What would your advice or just last words be to us?
Okay, so I'm gonna I'm gonna give
Don't
kind of,
ask me no question.
I'm not asking you no questions. Calm down. Calm down. No, I'm kidding. Okay, what I was gonna say was that for the women who don't think it's possible, I think it's important to switch to find the yes, right? What is possible? If you don't think it's possible, how do you keep looking for a possibility model that makes it look possible for you? Tune out the people who you do not resonate with. Tune out the people who make it feel impossible to you. Now, don't block them or anything, because a year from now, those people might be your new possibility models,
Right.
right? All the time. I followed someone today on Instagram that I unfollowed years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a different place now. She's in a different, it's like a fitness person. So it's not personal. But I
Yes.
remember years ago, I was like, this content is just not for me. And now
Mm-hmm.
this morning, I was like, okay, I'm in a different place. She's in a different place. I feel like this content is for me again. And I
Yeah.
think that it's important to know that like what you want can change. Who you want to get advice from can change. There's nothing wrong with that. But seek out the people who make you feel like it's possible,
Mm-hmm.
right? Seek those people out. Spend time with them online. So something I'm in another person's coaching program.
Mm-hmm.
And she always says that, like, if you look at someone and you really admire them and you want to spend time with them, figure out how to spend time with them. And it might be paying. She was like, I go to people's like retreats and programs because when I see them, I'm like, oh, wow, she's so cool. That's so cool. How can I spend more time with her? And
Right.
being in that person's paying to be in that person's coaching
Hey,
program, but
yes,
paying to be in that person's coaching program has taught me that like so much. I get to see so many more inner workings of her as opposed to just seeing her from the outside on the internet that I used to
right.
do before. And so I would say seek out the people that you feel resonate with you. And if you have to pay to spend time with them, right? Whether that's a coaching program, a retreat, whatever it is, do that, right? Like if there's a place where they're like, I'm going to be here for 3 days and I am inviting 10 people to be, and you want to be one of the 10, don't feel like, some people feel like too proud to do that, right? Like, and I'm like, I'm in like 7 different coaching programs right now.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
I mean, some of them are long term, right? Like you join and then you're in there forever, right? But yeah, like if I find someone's interesting, I'm like, let me figure out how I can get more of them in my life because I want, not that I want something to rub off on me, but I want to absorb more of what they have going on. So find people that you want to absorb more of and don't, like, don't get crazy, but like find a way to absorb some of that, right?
That's a good thing. That's very good advice. And watch them for a while and vet what they do. Vet what they do and vet what they say. Because listen, you can make a really looking video and they'll know that should be correct. Okay. Or I feel like this. Like you said with your coaching program, you can have all the credentials that you want behind your name. But there is something about personal experience when it comes to coaching. I've had business coaches, that I've talked to that have never run a business, but you have all of the trappings and the letters behind your name. There's something about the personal experience. So when you come into like that, the burnout to bliss, and you have people there sharing personal experiences, I mean, you can pick and choose what you want, what resonates with you, but there is value in that. And then you have people online that are calling themselves relocation experts, and they ain't got the residency. You ain't been through the program.
So I feel like relocation has gotten so sexy over the past 4 years, but there are people who are legitimately doing it because they want to help people. And there are also people who are like, I think I can make a buck doing
Get
this.
paid. Get paid. There are people that want to get paid. I had a lady come on and a sister who I know is not the type to go out and navigate being on her own and discovering where to live and what to do in a country that she's never been in. She canceled her tour with me. And I said, okay, well, that's fine. I mean, she's still within cancellation. I, reminded her of the policies. And she said, thanks. She says, I'm canceling it to save money. And I said, okay. Well, I just want you to know that sometimes saving money on the front end and coming to Panama and not getting anything done or getting partnered with the wrong people can cost you a lot more on the back end. I strongly recommend that you come to a credible company or source if you're looking to relocate to any place. And it doesn't have to be me, but I am a licensed tour operator and travel agency here in these streets of Panama. Okay, and that don't come easy. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I've done all of these tours. I'm getting ready to do my 27th Black Expats in Panama Culture Relocation Tour. At this point, I think that you kind of know that I know what I'm doing. So when I told her, just make sure that you are prepared to do this, she said, oh my God, please don't think I'm fickle. What was I thinking? I watched this other sister on YouTube, and she told me that you could move to Panama and you don't need to go through nobody's relocation tour. So then she called me up to cancel her tour. She said, can I please keep my tour? Of course you can. Because that sister right there is not the type of person who was going to be able to navigate any of this on her own. And the money that she would spend to be with professionals and people who know what they're doing and take you exactly where you need to go, answer all your questions, and feed and lodge you too.
We often, and I've been guilty of this before, are so interested in saving time that we don't saving money that we don't realize how much time we're going to spend on the back end. When it's like, if I just spent that money, right? That's the thing about coaching, right? Coaching is a shortcut from point A to point B. Your tour is a shortcut from point A to point B. Anyone can get from point A to point B to the point B you take them to by themselves. But what are they going to have to go through? How resilient, baby, are they going to have to get from that point A to point B without you? Right? Right? You could, there's nothing that I teach that you can't put together from multiple places.
But are you going to do that? Are you the kind of person that's going to do that? Is that worth your time? Or would you prefer just to pay somebody who has done it at least 27 times and have all the professionals around you to that you don't have to do any of that? That's where I am. And a lot of times, listen, you're talking about people who they're not even on social media. They are not even in touch with the internet and the workings to do the research. That just might come easy for some of us. And so I just felt like that was very irresponsible advice. I felt like, if you're this kind of person and this is what you have, and I really feel like if it had been conveyed, I don't watch some of these other things, but I really feel like if you're going to give that information, you really need to stress that this is not for everybody. However, if you want to come and do Panama on your own, first of all, if you're going to come and do Panama on your own and you don't have the resources, first of all, you're going to bump into the fact that a lot of people you come in contact with don't even speak English. That part. So it's not like going to a place, I think even if it's a place where everything is written in English and everyone is speaking in English, it's a little bit easier, I think, to navigate some things. But why would you want to connect with an attorney that you don't know or hasn't been vetted and then get a contract in Spanish?
Listen, you can save time or you can save money, but it's hard to do both.
Okay.
It's
Good
very,
advice.
very hard to
Good
do
advice.
both.
Good
And
advice.
I at this age, I am definitely of be saving time because baby, we were talking about this in the beginning. As a business owner, it's all my list of to-dos is 1,000 things wrong. Okay, so also we didn't mention this. I am starting traveling for a while on Saturday, and I had no idea how long I was gone for. I knew it was a while. I didn't know how long I was gone for until I had to count out. I've got this stack of each of these is like $25, a little bit more than 25. So this is what I pay my cleaning lady, and I put a note on each one for the day that it is, and I always leave some extra. So she comes once a week. I had no idea how long I was gone for until I counted today, and I counted out 12. I had to pay her. So I'm gone for two weeks, but I leave her 2 extra in case something comes up. She pays my bills while I'm gone, so I'll actually add some more to the stack for like bill money. But yeah, no, like it's a great life, right? Like it's this expat life is beautiful. You can do whatever you want whenever. Expat and entrepreneur, yes, freedom, do whatever you want, blah blah blah. But baby, the list of things I got to do and I got to figure out and what I got to do for this. So like it sounds glamorous, right? And that's I think what people underestimate is like the life of like living in a foreign country and being your own boss. It sounds so wonderful. But I've got to do like 20 item to-do list every day. Every day. Right?
Exactly. And you know what keeps you going is that it's the reward. It's that when you connect with sisters and you see that person that was saying I could never a year ago was saying, well, maybe. You know what I mean? Let me look into this. Let me take this step and see what happens. I think that right there is the reward. I think if you're out here just doing this for money, it's probably not going to work out for you because you're not going to want to put the time and the work that is involved. My brother was here recently over the last couple of weeks, and just so happened I had 2 community events that I was doing, And both of those events, I completely, you pack the house. I'm providing resources and income and clients to local businesses and everything. And he was like, "How much did they pay you?" And I'm like, "Well, actually, that is a part of my community service." So when people call me, I do not negotiate my prices. Oh no,
Do
we're
people
not.
call you trying to negotiate for
Well,
retainers?
not often, but some people say, "Well, I want to do this and I want to do that." Well, that's just the way. That's not the way my group package is made up, and I'm not going to do it. I do not negotiate my prices, and I do not let people tell me what I'm supposed to do, what I'm not supposed to do, and what I'm not doing. Because what people don't even realize is that a lot of the stuff that I do, I don't get paid for. It's community service. It's doing it because when I say I love you, I love you, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it, I mean that shit. I really do. I want to see us do better. I want to see us not necessarily do better because we're going to do that, but just be in a place of peace, um, a place where we don't have to be so resilient every day, all day. And I feel like if I can do something towards that, that is just reward. That is just reward for me. It's just part of my investment.
Yes. And I think that people so often speak from their perspective. Like you said, the woman who said you don't need to do a tour in Panama. That's probably very true for her, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also I see people, especially here in Mexico, setting up tours and things and doing business things about like moving here. And I'm like, oh, that's not gonna be it. Like I said, when I joined that business, I knew they were gonna go under. I could look at your business and be like, oh no, because you don't even live here.
Yes.
You come
You
in and do what
first of all,
you
you don't even live here.
you don't even you here like 3 months out of a year to do a business and to leave.
I'm
A
moving
business
into
about relocating.
hmm I'm moving into another country as far as the relocation.
Are you?
And yeah. And the whole thing about that has been finding the person to head that up for me because how can I? I am not a credible source. I am not a credible source for you to come to for relocation information from any place, really, except Panama. Panama, I can tell you some stuff. I am living and walking and experiencing this for myself. I am constantly learning, but I'm not going to just go out there and say, "Hey, I got this relocation thing going to wherever," because I need somebody with the expertise to help facilitate that for me. Stop taking advice from just anybody, y'all. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, and recognize that a lot of people, YouTube is about opinions, and everybody, your story is true based on you.
You're
This was
telling the
your
truth.
experience.
If you're telling the truth, because they be getting on YouTube and lying, baby. Just lie. Some of them are
True.
not telling the truth on YouTube.
No, no. And so when you start seeing, that kind of stuff. So anyway, listen, girl, I got to go. Rashida, because I know you got a million things to do and I got a million things to do. But something, I am just so happy to have had you on the show. I followed you on and off for the last few years, and you're just always very entertaining to me. I mean, you are just the entertainer, okay? But you bring good information as well. You have amazing guests, and I just want to thank you, sis, for the things that you're doing, and appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the access to your audience. I don't take that for granted. And I want to say hey to everyone, wherever you're moving to, whether it's Panama, whether it's Mexico, whether you don't know where you're going, whether you're a woman or a man, whatever you're doing with your life, wishing you the best and that you find the place and the people that are for you.
Yes. Thank you. Didn't I tell you? Y'all know I don't let you down. Oh my goodness. That was such a great conversation. Roshida and I, we was all over the place, but that's just kind of how it flows. You know, I feel like, you know what I say? Authenticity is the new sexy. And I think that Roshida's very sexy. And I think that I'm very sexy because I just be giving it to you straight. I hope that you enjoyed that conversation, that you got a lot out of it. And I really feel like, you know, for me, her message is if you can't see yourself doing it right now, just give yourself time. Continue to look around until you can see a maybe, because I honestly, guys, I just I just want to encourage everybody to always think about the next thing and the possibilities and follow Roshida on YouTube. Check out her coaching program. As always, follow us everywhere at Black Expats in Panama. I will be in Atlanta on April 27th. Holla at your girl. If you want a ticket, I'm going to be with the amazing Jewel Pearson, Miss Bohemian Soul. And we're going to be having conversations of liberation and just talk about how the tiny house movement and the Blackset movement can be liberating for us. What else I wanted to tell you? I wanted to tell you that I want to thank Daryl Spears, Elite Conversation Podcast Media, for always putting this together for me. I want to thank Riley and Devin at Blackset Radio. I always want to give them their props because they have given us an opportunity to put our voice out in the world. Remind you about our cultural relocation tours that take place every first through the 5th of the month, 9 months out the year. So check us out at blackexpatsinpanama.net for more information there. And I want to leave you with a song that is one of Rashida's favorite songs, and it is the Bill Withers, The World Keeps Going Round, live from Carnegie Hall. And so I want to thank her for sharing that with me. This is your girl, Charlotte Van Horn, Black Expats in Panama. I love you. I love you. I love you. And there's just nothing you can do about it. I'll see y'all next time. Ciao.